Hello, this is Pastor Jones. I want to spend about 5 minutes with you today. Can I talk to you about the Ten Commandments? They're found in the 20th chapter of the book of Exodus, verse 1 through 17. Its legal code is contained in 613 laws. These laws embrace all the phases of life, both personal, national, moral, spiritual, domestic, and international. They probe such minuteness as bird nesting and women's apparel, and such matters as the rights and the restrictions of kings, and who can and who cannot be a priest. A knowledge, my friends, though, of the law of Moses is a useful introduction to the gospel of grace. It lays a moral foundation for the gospel. Paul says that it is indeed our schoolmaster to bring us to Christ. You know why? Because as we look inwardly, we recognize that every one of us have transgressed God's law. I can't erase it. I can't blot it out. I have no ability to get rid of that blotch. Nothing but the blood of Jesus Christ. This is what that law lays out for you and I. First of all, duties Godward. And recognize every one of us have duties Godward. He is to be first. He is to be supreme, not just in this preacher's life, but every one of our lives. If we put the job, if we put family, if we put ourselves above God, we are not worthy of God. So what does the Ten Commandments say to us in regards to the duties that are Godward? The key phrase, the Lord thy God. In our thought life, 20th chapter, 30th verse, no other gods before him. He reigns supreme. He's number one, always. Secondly, no graven images. Nothing created by the hand of man that would nudge God out of his center place in our hearts and lives. The 20th chapter, verses 4 and 5. Words. 20th chapter, 7th verse, no profanity. The Bible tells us that no filthy communication proceed from our mouths. Our words ought to be full of love. They ought to edify, build up, encourage, and strengthen those round about us. But we live in a day and age of the filthy mouth. And it comes out of not only men, but women, even children today. But for us as believers, following God's directive, we don't use profanity. And then the deeds. 20th chapter, 8 through 11, we keep the Sabbath day and to keep it holy. It's God's day. It's a day of worship, not a day of family, not a day of doing our thing. It's a day where we pause, we stop, we set our eyes to heaven, and we give God our complete and undivided attention. And then the 20th chapter, 12th verse, obedience to parents. If you can't be obedient to your mom and dad, you'll never be able to be obedient to God above. God demands obedience on our part to our parents. And then we see the duties that are manward. The key phrase, thou shalt not, comes into play. When it comes to deeds, 20th chapter, 13th verse, thou shalt not kill, which means thou shalt not put to death. We're not talking about what goes on in war. We're talking about everyday life. We're not to kill another human being. Their life is precious in the eyes of God. And let me just give you a little insight. You don't have to take a gun or a knife or whatever and kill somebody. You can kill somebody with your words and destroy their reputation and destroy their life. Be careful when you think about this. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. And then in words, thou shalt not bear false witness. And lastly, 20th chapter, 17th verse, thou shalt not covet. My friends, when we put the law of God into action in our life, as we lean on the Lord and as we run after Christ, these truths emerge from our life and we become a blessing and an asset to everybody around us. I hope this has given you something to think about today and for you to search your own heart. This is Pastor Jones saying, God bless, until I see you next time.